Welcome! Making you guys a video here to help us out with lesson 9. Sorry I'm not there with you, but please follow along. It is asked you already to have your workbook out, your Chromebook on, and follow along as we go from step to step here. So we are looking at lesson 9 today, opening up to the beginning of lesson 9. It asks us to open a spreadsheet window and enter this data so that each value is in its own cell in column A. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let me delete this thing. I was just typing some stuff to try it out. So I'm going to open a spreadsheet, a Google Sheets. So start a new tab. Again, we're going to go to the 9 dots up here in the corner, all your different apps, and find Google Sheets right here. So Google Sheets is what we're working in today. We're going to work at the brand new one. So we're going to open a blank Google Sheets document. So I'm going to go ahead and start a blank spreadsheet. And the first thing that I always do when I open up a new Google document is, of course, title it. So once I have this open, I'll make it larger so it's a little bit easier to see here in this video. Oop, probably not that large. I do want to give it a title, so I'm going to click up here where it says Untitled Spreadsheet. Do this along with me so that we can find it again if ever we need to. And I'm going to call it Algebra 1. Let's see, I don't want to call it lesson yet. We're in Unit 1, so I'm going to start there. Unit 1, and we're in Lesson 9. So I'm giving it that title. And if I were working side by side here, I could have my workbook side by side. Of course, I can't do that here when I'm working on my computer, so I'm going to put them side by side on my screen there. And I need to input this data that I'm seeing in the workbook into column A. So, looks like my technology is a little bit slow here. Let's see if we can catch it up. And I'm just going to start typing in data, one value at a time. 7, 8, 4, 13, 5, 15, 14, 8, 12, 2, 8, 13, 12, 13, 6, 1, 9, 4, 9, and 15. So I was just able to type each number in there and then hit enter for us to skip to the next line there. So I've got all of my data in here in this spreadsheet. And it asks us how many values are in your spreadsheet and explain your reasoning. Well, if I were to count all of these, I could simply count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But of course, it also has our rows counted down the side here. So I can already tell that I have 20 values in this spreadsheet. So I would write that in my book. In your workbook, write down that you have 20 values because there are 20 rows of data. So a nice way to explain your reasoning when we do that. So now it says if we entered our data in the order that the values are listed, the number 7 is in the cell position A1. Nice, we can see that. We can also see it up here that it has the number of the cell up there. So if ever you're lost, you can always look up in this top corner and it lets you name that box. So the number 5 is in A5, that's true. List all of the cells that contain the number 13. Well, let's see. I see a 13 in A4, A12, and A14. So it's just checking that we can do that reading of those values, being able to tell the column and the row. So I need to write down in my book A4, A12, and A14 are the cells that have the number 13. A4, A12, and A14. Now it asks us to use some calculations going on here. Now we might have something slightly different just because it is our workbook assumes we're using GeoGebra and we're here using Google Sheets. So I think it'll still be pretty much the same. All right, so C1, type the word sum, okay. C2, type mean, and cell 3, median. Okay, C1, C2, C3. And then it's saying we can double click or drag the line between cells C and D. I think yours is probably like mine where you can see what it's saying, but you could drag it side to side if you needed to make it wider or skinnier. And if you double click that line between, it makes it as narrow as possible to still be able to see the full words that you have in there. So, yep, we've got that going on. So we've got that. So we're ready to move on to our next slide. Let's see what we've got going on. 9.2, we're going to use that same data and we're going to calculate a couple statistics. Next to the word sum, in cell D1, wish I could see, maybe I'll make this one smaller too. There we go. Oh, well that didn't do what I wanted. All right. Sorry, just putting them side by side so I can see them both a little bit bigger here. Good. All right, so next to the word sum in D1, it wants us to type in the equation. Now we've typed in a lot of formulas before, so we're going to type this formula in here. We're going to hit our equal sign, equals sum, and this is one of it that if you start typing the word sum, Google pops up lots of different possibilities. So we're going to use that first one, the sum of a series. And we want to do A1 through A20. Now you could do this one of two ways. You could type in A1 colon A20 and close those parentheses. And we'll get our answer of what our total sum is for the entire set. Now, a different way that we could do it if we wanted to use the click and drag method, just hit the equal sign. We're going to find the sum of, and you can click and hold, click and drag all of column A from A1 to A20, and then hit enter. Either way, it's going to tell us that the sum is 178. So for the mean, we're going to do that same thing. Okay, so next to the word that we typed for mean in box D2, we're going to also do a formula, equals. Now if you remember, mean, Google Sheets doesn't use mean. Instead of mean, they use average. So we are going to find the average of A1 to A20. Close those parentheses, hit enter. That's telling us the mean now. And next to the word median, it's going to ask us to find the median. Okay, so let's type that. Equals median. There we go. That tells us we can find the median value in a data set. A1 colon A20, close parentheses, and hit enter. And so now our spreadsheet is telling us, by typing in those values there, we can see what it's looking like. So let's go to our workbook. Let's type this in, that we found the sum was 178. The mean, and I'm typing equals here, but it's pretty small, so I'll make that text bigger. How about that? I kind of wish it would just let me write on here like you guys are writing in your book, but that's okay. One we can do. The mean was 8.9 and the median was 8.5. Now when we did that, you may want to put this, the idea here that instead of the mean, I'm going to just put a little arrow here, that instead of the mean in Google Sheets, that Google Sheets uses the word average. So I just put that in quotes so I remind myself if I ever have to do this for a homework problem, I'm going to type in the word average instead of mean. Okay, same things. So it asks us to change the value in A1 from 7, and now we're going to make it 8. And we're going to see how it changes those statistics. So I changed it to 8. I'm just going to click off of it, and these numbers are going to change automatically. And so now we have some new values using those same formulas that we wrote. So let's write in what our new values are. The new sum is 179. The new mean, 8.95, a little bit higher. But the median didn't change. So notice that making one adjustment to one data point, sometimes it changes our values and sometimes it doesn't. So this is a time where it didn't change. The median, still 8.5. And it asks us what value can be put into A1 to change the mean to 10.05 and the median to 9. Ooh, interesting. Okay. What value can be put into A1 to change the mean to 10.5? Well, right now it's at 8.95. I need to raise that up, so I gotta make that bigger. If I want the mean to be higher, that means I need to take this one data value and make it higher. So I'm just going to put in some things to kind of guess and check. I'm going to start with 10 and then just hit enter and see. And I see that the mean went up a little bit, but not enough. So I need to keep on trying some different values. 9.2, maybe I'm going to try 15. Ooh, gosh, maybe 18. Oh man, this looks like a pretty big number. I'm going to try 25. Oh, it's still not big enough. What about 30? Oh, there we go. By testing out some different numbers, it lifted our mean, and now it's at 10.5, and the median is 9. So that is the number we were looking for. What value can we put into A1? If we change A1 to 30, the mean is 10.05 and the median is 9. So that's what we had to do to make that happen. We had to change A1 to equal 30. So changing one value in our spreadsheet changed the mean, and it did change the median eventually if we got it up over 9, because remember, the median puts all of our data in order and then counts to that middle number. So changing our data values is going to change which one is the median. All right, so 9.2 is looking pretty good.